Good morning, guys. It's a beautiful Saturday morning in South Florida, and we are still in the final week of 2021. A gentleman named Jay, you saw his 1957 black Ford Custom, which is a absolutely beautiful car. He has invited me to his man cave. One of the best things about doing this channel is I get to go and see these man caves or private off-site garages that people have all their toys in, and so you get to come along. It's in South Florida, somewhere below I-4, Interstate 4. We're gonna go see it now. We're on the road, and from what I'm told, this is gonna be really cool. And so we're heading over there, and I have no idea what to expect when we go to these places because, sorry, my GPS is giving me directions. Anyway, I don't know what to expect when we get here. I love the fact that this channel lets us go and visit these places. This is like a new thing where people have these off-site private garages where they have all their car stuff and memorabilia and everything else. And from what I've been told from his friends is, oh, you're gonna love this. So I spoke to him this morning. He invited me over. We're heading there. It's gonna take a little while to get there. Like I said, I can't tell you exactly where it is, but when we get there, I'm hoping that we will all be pleasantly surprised, which I'm pretty sure we will be. If his car, the 57 Ford, is any indication. So welcome to another episode of Junkyards and Barn Finds with Sean, and I'm Sean.
I don't know exactly how to word this, other than the fact that it gives me pleasure to have someone like you walk in, or a complete stranger walk in with his friends, and he's looking around, and you watch his face, and there's a smile on his face, and whatever he walked in the door with went totally away. He's in a whole new world. He's happy. He's not thinking about anything.
You see
else.
a smile on my face. I even said, I don't know. And yesterday when you were when we were talking yesterday, and you were like, let me show you, and I'm like, I don't want to see it because I want to be surprised. I want the people watching this to experience what I experienced when you walk in. I mean, I actually got goosebumps. You can actually see. I actually have goosebumps from a place like this, because this is what, you know, every kid, if you've been to cars, and I've had Hot Wheels, you know, when you start with the Hot Wheel cars, this is what we all aspire to. And like I said, this isn't put on to go, when I come into these places, it's not to go, oh, look what he has. It's like, look what you guys can do. Well, you know, and that's the thing. It's aspire to something that, you know, like you said, the cars are great, but all this other stuff that is a lifetime of collecting things, a lifetime of putting stuff in a garage. And it also may give some idea, like a funny car body, right? I have been to all over the world, I've been all over the world, but all over the country, and I have seen these at restaurants, or you've seen them in the back of garages. Like you go up and you might see like 6 or 7 hot rods in front of somebody's house, and you see like 3 or 4 of these piled in the back or behind a garage. And somebody might have said, oh, I know where one is, but what am I going to do with it? Well, this is what you could do with it. If you have a garage, you could hang it from the roof, put your shop light in it, and now even if you have a 2-car garage house, if you could put a car under it, you can hang this. They're not that heavy.
And that's free space up there.
Yeah.
You're not using it anyway. Why not put something up there that's fun to see and look at?
That's what I'm saying. Like people can put these kind of things on. They can do different things. It gives them an idea of what to do.
And so the lead dog's got the best view. So you kind of step over the side and let those dogs go, and then you go do things that you want to do.
In fact, on my race car, because the only Ford I actually ever owned was my race car. Other than that, I was like a GM guy. But I had a Ford, and it was S197 Mustang, and on the back, on the spoiler, because I did SCCA racing, road racing, it said, "If you can read this, you're losing."
Yeah, well.
And people used to go, "Well, what if you're a lap down?" I said, "I'm still upsetting the guy behind me."
This is an off-take of Lingenfelter.
Felter snatch. There you go.
There were some guys back. I used to be a drag racer. Back
Is that one of your cars?
No,
or?
the guy, the Derby and Marriott. I used to race against Marriott, but now this is back in the days where we were running gashers.
Okay.
And I was way down in the D-gas, and I haven't seen that guy in a long, long time. In fact, I'd bought some parts from him back in '61. And hadn't seen him in a long time, and I run into this body was out, actually way out in the country, close to where I was raised in a little town, 9,000 people, and I walked in this old boy's place. It's pretty run, we'll just call it a place.
Right.
And this thing was sitting over in the corner and dust and dirt all over it. And I said, "Well, what's that?" Oh, he says, "I bought that here, I don't know, a few years back." And my wife said it was not going over the pool table, so there it sits. And I said, "Well, I'd be interested in buying it." And I said, I know that Marriott fella. He said, "Well, I'm interested in selling it." So
there you go.
That's where it come from.
Well, there's a guy named Kenny in town, and he lives in Estero. And he's been on our channel and stuff, and he used to do in the 60s and stuff, he used to do the front engine dragsters and stuff
diggers.
back there. He's about 80 now, but he's got pictures of him against everything. And then Bob Bodie, there's a guy named Bob Bodie who my friend just had a heart attack and died. It was his older brother. He races against John Force, and he does, I think he races for Wins or one of the casinos, but he's been on TV doing it for 20 years.
Well, I found out very early in life. There was a fella I was going to school in Denton, North Texas State, and I was both poor and ignorant, and so I run out of money, and my grades weren't hot, so I went out to New Mexico to work in the potash mines, and ran into a fellow by the name of Dick Harrell. He was called at that time Mr. Chevrolet. He could get anything out of General Motors that Smokey Unit could get.
So he was kind of Shelby was the Ford.
Yeah,
I've
got a picture of him in 1963 Winter Nationals and a aluminum front end '62 Chevrolet. By the way, the car's still alive and well in Amarillo, Texas. And he was the man in '61 and '62. Winter Nationals, 1963 Winter Nationals. This is a '62, and he had to run BFX because of some of the factory valve trains and whatnot that were in the car but had not been put in production yet. Him winning the Winter Nationals and B modified production, which was a class that if there was they were really factory race cars, and when they would change anything up, they had to go into modified production because they weren't really production cars. Like front ends, different valve trains, different heads and stuff, but it was all still GM. And I run into him, and I was
kind of like how the Cobra Jets are from Ford right now.
Right,
the real Cobra Jets, not a Cobra Jet engine, but the Cobra Jets. Okay.
And so I run into him out there, and I was just a gopher, and but I learned real quick. Usually the car I was racing, most of the time I had to drive to work or whatever I was going to do. Right. These guys could ask these cars for their lives and then some because they didn't have to drive them to work. They were race cars. And so I couldn't ask mine for its life because if I broke something, then I was going to walk.
Yeah.
And so I figured out real quick, not only was I not up to it, I didn't have the expertise, I certainly didn't have the money.
Right.
So.
And I used to say to people, you want to get your kids off drugs. If you don't want to get your kids in drugs, get them in the cars because you get race cars, you don't have money for drugs.
That and you can have a little bit of sympathy for a crackhead in the fact that once you get this in your, once you experience G's and force and things that's probably that you really are in control of, but yet you aren't, and you get that feeling inside of you, and you go 1,320 feet and you can barely remember what, when, and where, then yeah, you're hooked. You're probably hooked.
Yeah.
And so, but I had enough sense to realize, being an old farm boy, that I didn't have the money nor the expertise. And these guys, you know, they grew up racing go-karts and stuff like that, and I just didn't have it. But that's okay. I mean, that's what makes That way I can build cars, and if you don't like my car, that's fine. That's why the car over in the corner is a 409 stock car. My friend bought it in high school. As we graduated, he was my hunting
62?
buddy. 63.
60. Okay, 63.
And so he had traded it in on another car. The fellow that kept it running owned the car, and I finally wound up. That would be a long story unto itself. Pried it out of his hands, and so it's a 2-owner car. Me being the third. And I fixed it up, and I did everything I could I wanted to show it in a stock class, and I did win my class, but the people, you had so many arguments over this bolt, this nut, this, that.
That's why I got rid of my Corvettes, because you changed the cassette deck out just to look, taking it, like I had a 35th anniversary, which had 30,000 miles on it, hadn't been driven. I was the second owner of it. And I took first time I bought it Thursday, took it to a car wash, took it to a show, won best in class. But if I even changed anything, then the value is done.
And we, after dealing with the stock folks for a while and reading, and I worked for General Motors Parts Division again after my stint in New Mexico. On any given day, on a Monday or Friday or Tuesday on the production line, the line had to keep going. So it didn't matter if this screw was not quite what it's supposed to do, or if this color was whatever. It got put on there and sent out the line. It may get corrected, it may not get corrected, So I just got tired of arguing with folks, and I had a split window here. In fact, that car is a very odd car in the fact that it's white with a saddle interior.
So that's the original paint color.
That's a 997-point car out of 1,000 under 3 judges. So it is pretty correct.
Now that's not that car, is it?
That is that car.
This car is the white car.
No.
Okay. I was just.
But this car is this car.
It's a 409.
Yes, this car is alive and well in New Mexico, in Amarillo, Texas. It surely is. But, Yep. Only way I know, I called a gentleman that had it, and I was asking him questions about the car because I wanted to verify it. Yes, it had an aluminum front end on it. Yes, it had all the trinkets. But I asked him, I said, is the 409 emblem and crooked on the driver's side front? Yeah, how did you know that? Well, when we put this front end on this car, it came from the factory, aluminum, but they didn't punch the holes. We didn't give a damn because we wanted to go fast, so we just drilled holes in it and put the emblem on, because a lot of places like Amarillo, we even had to put the center section back in because it was not a stock car, stock configuration. So I knew that car was real when I talked to him on the phone because of that.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
Because I know the dummy that put it on there.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they made, I think 18 or 19 of these aluminum front end cars in 1962. And here's this car above us right here.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's called Shockwave.
Now, what did you race? Did you?
No, I was racing in the gas classes.
Okay, you were racing gas
in the late
classes.
50s, early 60s. Yeah.
But this one, that body is the body above our head right now. So cool. That is just, that's just awesome stuff.
Well, it's, it means nothing. But, you would get people arguing with you, well, this is right, not right. And I said, this is not for me. I'm just not going to, I'm not the brightest star in the galaxy, but, I've done my homework, and I figure if I do my homework, you may beat me, but you're not going to beat me because I didn't do my homework. Right. So
I'll tell you one of the quick funny story is there's a farm up in North Florida above Venice or whatever, and every October they have like a Oktoberfest thing there with rides, but they have a car show. And I was coming back from Sebring, and all I had done was I had my motorhome and I had my Mustang on the back, and I see car show, and I'm driving here, and I thought, I still have the car on there. Still got literally, it had the time, everything from driving around Sebring for about 10 hours. So I got it. I took it off the trailer, I parked the motorhome in the park, in the grassy field, because pulled into the farm. I'm like, hey, I'm here. The guy goes, you here for the car show? I said, sure. Because it's free parking if you're here for the car show. And so I parked there, and I parked right next to this guy who had a 68 Shelby with like police tape around it, you know. And there was about 50, 60 cars there. And I'm sitting there, and my car also had Hot Wheels signals on their hood and everything else. I used to give out Hot Wheel cars to kids. And on my helmet said Hot Wheels and race. So I'm like, it's a big Halloween thing,
sure,
you know.
Well,
so I'm like letting kids come. I'm like, oh, come on over and sit in the car, and here's a Hot Wheels car if you want one, and sit in the car. We'll take your picture with my helmet on, and you know, the kids are piling in it and all, and it's dirty and everything. And so I didn't enter it for anything. I just figured I'd get free parking right there.
Right. Yeah, have some
and
fun.
2 hours later, I'm standing there, and they're like, oh, the guys, they're like calling, oh, we're gonna have the awards now. And I didn't go over. I'm just sitting here and all of them over there. And the next thing I know, I hear my car number. And I go over, and it's Best Mustang at the show.
Your neighbor wasn't happy.
The dude next to me threw a fit like you wouldn't believe. How the heck? Yeah, he didn't even wash it. And it's like, you know why? Because the kids were the ones that, I didn't even know they were voting. But the kids each got a ticket when they came into the car corral, and they could put it into whatever jar was next to a car. And they, of course, I'm giving away a free Hot Wheels car. They're sitting in my car putting helmets on, playing around. I don't care. You know, it's not.
That's what it's for.
And I said, that's the fun thing. And yeah, and I pissed them off. But you know what? I was like, hey, that's what cars are for.
Just to have fun, and at my stage of my life, you know, having fun and getting getting yourself straight is really what it's all about. I've been very fortunate. There's a big piece of pie, and I got my little piece, and I left plenty for everybody else. So I'm here having fun doing what I like to do, and I've got some great friends. You've seen,
right.
You've run into some of them, and we just over at the man caves on Thursdays. There'll be 10 or 12 cars show up over there, and you know, we sit around. And if you don't have a thick hide, you better not come. And you're probably going to hear the same story twice, and the next time it may change a bit. So, but it's fun. Who cares?
And I tell you, the one thing that living down here in South Florida, and I say this when I, especially like even when I introduce some of the videos, and you go to I don't know how long you've been down here. Because I've been here
20 years.
Okay, same here. I've been here since the 80s, and Merchants Crossing's been going on probably for 10, 15 years. I know they tried to change it a couple times, but it's a place, South Florida, where I'd say all the car guys who were successful car guys in whatever they did in life come here, and they either bring their best toy or they buy their toy when they're here. So you get to see cars here that on a Monday night, which, like I tell people, that's like where we saw your car the other thing. That's not a car show.
No, it's
everybody going to Applebee's. It's an Applebee's parking lot that people just have shown up for years, and it's a bunch of old guys talking about cars. It just so happens there's 250 old guys that bring these cars that have been in shows and in magazines and everything else, because that's their favorite car. They're retired. They have the life experience or the ability to take off on Friday and sit up there.
It's like the gentleman you interviewed that had the yellow GTX.
GSX.
GSX.
Yeah.
He took pride in it.
Yeah.
And we, you know, good. I sometimes.
And it was in his basement for 30 years. He bought it new, sticks in his basement for 30 years.
It's like part of the family.
Yeah.
And to me, I hesitate to take that car to that show.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. I don't want people to think I'm a hot dog.
Right.
I'm not a hot dog. I've been fortunate in my life. I've got cars that I drive and putz around in, and yes, that's an ex-show car. Yes, it's an ex-trailer queen. But actually, I spent a lot of money and a heck of a lot of time building and getting that car built and building it in my mind. So, yeah, I like to go out, and after I'm through showing it, I like to go out and I get a buzz out of people looking at my car. Hell yes. But I don't want a guy to walk up and feel like, well, you know, I wish I had one of those. I don't have one of those. I don't have the money. I don't want him to feel like I'm sort of a...
But see, the thing is, I think, because I'm from up north in Pennsylvania, and if you're in places, especially like up north where there's seasons, if you brought a car like that to like a church car show or even just like a Applebee's for the week, that car is going to so stand out compared to somebody else. I mean, we went under it. Like I said, it's so... But here, this is a beautiful car, but there's probably probably 10 or 15 cars that have probably been in the nationals like you did, or won awards, or been in. I mean, that one guy that brings that Nova we did there with the tilt front end has been in magazines and everything else, but he drives it every day. And because they're at a point like you said, that was a trailer queen, but you didn't just build it to sit in your living room. It's a car. And it's like boats. If you don't put a boat and turn the motor on and take it for a sail once in a while, then you'll never will.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know. I kind of have a funny feeling, you know. I don't want people to think I'm some sort of hot dog or something. So I hesitate.
Well, I think, and coming to here, because I've come to there's a couple, and you guys know, I'm going to talk to these guys for a second. So.
Don't put me on there.
No. Well, I come from the back. We're doing the back of his head today. So we've found a couple places, and the cool thing is down here is that everybody has these like away from their house. Not everybody, but there's a lot of people here who always wanted this.
Yes, of course.
And you can't, I mean, most people down here aren't going to put this at their house. Although we have met one or two, and we've been to one or two, like the guy with the GTO, you know. But the nice thing here is in Florida, is you can rent a place like this from the outside. And we don't show the outside. Like I said, I told you guys, all I'm telling you is it's south of US or I-4. So it's somewhere here in South Florida. But if you pulled up to this, and like I said, we don't show the outsides of anything, we don't talk about where they are, is you would never know these are in here. They're hidden. But when you walk in, this is like, and if you're 20 years old or 25 watching the channel, you're not expected to have something like this. This is a lifetime of collecting. Even myself, I mean, I live in a small 2-bedroom condo now. I sold a 4-bedroom house, of which for the last 4 years I had to check the other 2 bedrooms just to make sure, because I never had anybody stay there, you know. So yeah, I mean, you know, you have 2 bedrooms that are there for guests. If you live in Florida, you basically have to have like a hotel room for the people that come down. So everybody would love to have this. This is, and you've probably given away or got rid of more stuff than you see here.
Some, and I've got some other stuff over. I've got another warehouse over here that actually there's a tractor that I just finished up that my father bought new in 1950, and I had been trying to get it from my cousin for 5 years out in New Mexico. It actually cost me more to get the tractor here than the doggone tractor's worth. But
not to you.
No, because I started driving that when I was 9 years old. So so you know, it is what it is. I feel very fortunate. A lot of this stuff is here. I buy things because it reminds me of maybe a situation in the past. For instance, take the Royal Crown Cola.
Okay.
When I was a kid, we used to, living out in the country, we could go 3 miles and there was a little filling station. We would buy a Royal Crown Cola, take a package of Tom's Peanuts and pour in it, and that was our treat for the day and probably the treat for the week. There's railroad passes from 1913 from my grandfather who homesteaded land in Vaughn, New Mexico, from Vaughn, New Mexico to Galveston, Texas. Those are the railroad passes that got him back and forth.
And barbed wire, because you had cows.
Boy.
I mean,
I'm a country boy.
This is
there's a lot of stories here that really only it means something to me.
But that's the whole point of having a man cave like this, or whatever you want to call it. So we've talked about, so like some of the things in here, like I used to fly remote control airplanes, which it's kind of weird. A lot of car guys also get remote control airplanes.
Well, I built I built some small planes when I was younger, but my theory is I filled up the walls almost. I filled up the floor almost. I own the ceiling too. Why not? Yeah. And so people get tired of them. Well, there's 4 or 5 planes in here that I drove over. The lady just wanted to get rid of. She gave them to me, and some of them are worth money. Yeah. But I went over and just loaded my 24-foot trailer up, and because, like I say, I hang them, they give me enjoyment. stuff.
And you come in here and it's like, it's a nice place to come in.
If I'm down in the dumps for whatever reason, and I can come in here, I look at things that may make me think of something maybe in the past, or if I'm really down dumps, I'll crawl one of these old cars, drive up and down the street 2 or 3 times, go see a buddy, and whatever my problem was is gone, and I'm back doing whatever I was doing. Right. So it's
cool.
At 81 years old, well, it's anything to keep you happy and going means a lot.
And I'll tell you one thing: if we look over in the wall, you see the U.S. flag.
Yes, sir.
And you see Texas.
Correct.
And I'll be honest with you, I've been to a lot of these places around the country. The only people that hang flags of their state: Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. I have never seen anybody in Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York. Like Pennsylvania, I wouldn't even know what the Pennsylvania flag states. But anybody from Texas, Texas, like the southern states, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, you go into somebody's garage or cave and you're going to see that probably before you're going to see the U.S. flag normally.
Like Lonesome Dove, the movie, they will bury me in Texas. I promise you that. Now, I may be in a jar or a can or in pieces. But
or in this 57. Yeah. Or this is a 55 rather, right?
No,
it is 57. Okay, yeah. It just doesn't have the... Now, this is because this is the Post.
Yes, it's the same thing as that car. It's called the 150 utility sedan. It was the cheapest thing they made, and it didn't have it came from the factory without a back seat. It had a plywood and rubber matting back there, and that was it. It was a salesman's car or a
And this does not have the piece of aluminum or whatever.
No. This is totally separate and totally unique to the 150. And the 150 house had the shorter chrome on the top.
Okay.
So
this is the one you were talking about in when yesterday we were talking, and you said you had the matching.
This was the black. Well, this is
Is this what comes with this there too, or is that
not
just
here?
Okay?
No. What this would have been the Black Widows. They were called Black Widows. And they first came out in 57 with fuel injection, and they were for NASCAR. And so when you saw this set of flags with fuel injection written here, you knew that this was a 283 horse, and it was a bad hombre.
And that was the ones that they used in NASCAR when they were racing on the beach at Daytona, right?
Yes, and they started out, and then NASCAR wouldn't let them run wouldn't let them run fuel injections, so they started running this engine, which is a 283 270 horse 2.4 car engine. 283 270 horse, and that's what that engine is.
And what year is that engine then?
57.
So that would be when you're saying that's what the engine is. That is what the engine would be.
270 horse. That's for a Corvette because of the air cleaners.
Right.
The passenger cars had what they call a bat wing that sat over here. It had 2 air filters over here and set down like so.
But the Corvette was here because it was a smaller.
It's a correct engine other than this is a last deep. They come with a deep groove pulley.
Okay.
And I have a passenger car pulley on the bottom, and finally found a deep groove pulley for this car. You've met Rich, who has the Nomad.
Okay.
He went up to buy because he's a 32 through 40 parts guy, and he went up and we hauled 5 pickup loads of 32 through 40 parts. So he told me that this engine was around and he'd had it for 45 years. So I said I'd be very much interested in it if the carburetors are correct, which is a hard part to find.
Right.
And
it's got the shielding too.
Yes.
For the radio.
So now that's a repop.
Oh, okay.
So he had it piled in the middle of the floor when the next or 6th trip up, and so I bought it. I didn't even quarrel with him on price. Because I didn't want to. No, well, we don't even go there. But anyway, I bought the engine, and it's ready to go. All it needs to be done is put some plug wires on it, set it on a dyno, get it tuned up and ready to go. And then the other's a 409 engine.
So this is the famous 409 that everybody beat, the Beach Boys, all that kind of stuff made.
And I just bought pieces and parts from a friend out in Amarillo, and it's ready to go into a project if I ever find that project.
If not, it's nice just to have sitting here on the stand.
That's
cool.
I get as much enjoyment out of that because I used to race these old engines. I can remember the day in 1957 when I saw this engine in that car, and the car was black. In 1957, we were racing out the country.
So this car, how long not this car?
I've owned this car. No, not this car.
Okay.
No. I've owned this car about 25 years.
Wow. And everything, you got 4 black cars, and black cars, you see everything in a black car.
Correct. And I will tell you probably the main reason that I do black cars is the fact that if it's done right, it's a safe color. Everybody likes a black, shiny, straight car. I
Yeah,
don't care who
that's what I'm saying, and they look so perfect with all, especially with all the chrome and the years you do.
And that's an all aluminum 427 small block, Motown small block, Bill Mitchell small block. It's running about 540 horse. It's really kind of nasty to run on the street, but it is what it is.
What's the 4-speed tranny?
700 R4.
700. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So and
And
then
it's got an Art Marson chassis under it, 4-wheel disc all the way around, and
what's the rear gears in this?
411.
411.
Yeah, it's nasty on the
So it
front
can,
light.
yeah. So this could,
It could be Corvette guys. Well, I say that.
and it's all steel, like you were saying yesterday, right? All your cars are all steel because yours, yeah.
Yep, they're all steel. Now this car's been built twice. I built it, poor boy, it the first time around, and then the second time around, I said, I want to have a pretty nice kind of car and one that'll run.
And it does not have, which a lot of people upgrade, or I don't know if it's upgrade or if they come with everything gold, that gold plated stuff.
Now, gold plate went with the Bel Air.
Is that why they are? Okay.
It went with the Bel Air. The 210, you could order this as an accessory, or on the 150, you could order it as an accessory. But who's going to buy a 150 and add accessories to it? Because basically it was a 6-cylinder, standard shift, and then a little heater in it was about like that. And if you didn't want a heater or a radio, you didn't have to take that either. They were all extra.
So on my channel, when we were talking yesterday, and now I don't know what, on my channel, the very first video I ever put up was not filmed by, it was filmed by me in 1986. It was me working on my 57 that I had traded for a Blazer. It had a Corvette motor and a little 327, and I cut the steel hood to put a 3 butterfly, and it had a California bumper on it. Now,
shame on you.
well, yeah, but this is 1986 when nobody cared. It was like a $2,500 car at the time. It even had the one-piece California bumper on it. But it was a post car like this, but it actually had the. So I'm wondering if mine was a Bel Air, because it had the Bel Air, whatever you call it, white.
Well, they made the 150, the 210, and the Bel Air. The Bel Air would have had the trim that come like so. And had the anodized aluminum.
Yep. So mine had that. So mine, I guess, was a Bel Air, but everybody used to tell me it was a 210 because it was a post car.
No.
And I was like, okay, it's a 210. Back then, I didn't know.
No. There was plenty of post Bel Airs. Oh yeah.
Okay. So if you guys see the very first video on my channel, if you guys look back, it's blue, and you can see it when it first comes. It has no hole in the hood. The first day I get it, and then by the time it's all stripped down the metal, I'm so proud because I redid I redid the dashboard. I put some Delta 88 fluffy seats in it.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, it was such an 80s car at the time, but it was my first real build of a car. And in fact, I had to rebend because the back fin was bent, and we had to put it on a frame straightener and pull it out because there was so much lead in it, because the only body work ever done on it was lead.
It was, it was. Well, and like you said, back in those days, we all, we weren't real.
Yeah, no.
But that's what everybody else was doing.
It's like I said, I bought a '69 Camaro for $300 just because I wanted the rally rims to put on my Corvette because it had those rallies. Oh, yeah. And then I sold it for $500. Thought I was like Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, this
yes, sir.
I should start my own car business.
You
I made $200.
You did a home run.
So what is missing from here?
These mats I put in because I got tired of mopping floors.
Yeah, I know, but there's a mat here that's got nothing on it. So is there something that was here or something?
It's actually just a space. I've got too many cars. And
okay.
I'm getting to the point I'm going to sell something.
Is that why you were talking about the split window was in here or something?
Yes, and it's a man come along that wanted it, and he was a nice enough fella, and he certainly had money in his pocket. And what I had it for was it was also white.
Okay.
4-speed 340 horse car, and it had a saddle interior in it, and their hard Corvette white with saddle is hard to find. Hard to find.
Now this SS, these things are beautiful. In fact, I actually just found the 64 that's sitting in Fort Myers for sale, but it's completely the body's gone.
This car.
But this is a 409. Is this original 409?
Yes, sir, it is. I have the original window sticker that goes in. Everything. Let me back up. Everything is original to this car, with the exception of the windshield and any pot metal.
Okay, that needed to be replaced.
I could have had it chromed, but it just. The grill, I actually sent the grill off to a gentleman, a retired airline pilot in Idaho, and that's actually the grill that this car came with.
So he just redid it.
Straightened it, re-anodized it.
And is that the original block for it?
No, it's long since gone. This car's a little bit strange, and back in the day, you could not run supposedly a booster because it pulled too much vacuum off the engine.
Right, because you're racing it and you want as much, you don't want to waste the horsepower.
The young man that bought this car, my friend, we were hunting buddies, brought it home, and he was married, he just got out of high school, married just as he got out of high school, brought it home, and his wife complained of the fact that it wouldn't stop good. So he took it back to the dealership, and they actually, because this was a late car, they actually pulled a booster off of a 64. So this is a 64 booster.
Okay. And it only has the single beer can, so it doesn't have, because it's got drum brakes all around it, right?
Yeah, drum brakes all the way around. So, correct.
And this is a neat thing. Yes. Like people now see like a hot rodders or the guys building, and you always see like a bottle of Jack Daniels or something, and you think, oh, why would you do that? But that's because GM would put these. They were bottles at the time, so and these broke, right?
They would break, and
then somebody would put a Jack Daniels bottle or Southern Comfort or whatever.
When I showed this car, I actually talked to a gentleman in Canada, and he said, when you show your car, that's water and cake coloring, and there's 2 drops of this and 2 drops of that. Put some Joy soap in there, because when you show the car, when you see the judges coming, slap that good and make it bubble, because they want to see the bubbles. That's how crazy some of these car shows are.
Yeah.
When we set this car up, we actually jacked the car up and had all the spinners going in the same direction. Every Phillips screw head is running in the same direction. I mean, it's just insane. So that was my first taste and my last taste. But this car, the hubcaps on this car, I still have the boxes. I've never been on another car.
Wow.
The license plate that's on it's never been on another car.
And in Texas, you can, once a car comes with a plate, does it stay?
No. You get a. You used to get a different plate every year, and then they went to the stickers on the plate.
Oh, okay.
But as you can see in this car, these are correct rubber floor mats. I paid dearly for them, but everything, the seat belts, everything is complete in the car, is exactly the way it's supposed to be.
And it's got that factory tack.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And I've got all the information on the cars right there in that folder, even actually the picture of the original window sticker, and I have the window stickers home.
And so you see a car like this now, like a lot of times, even if we see one that say somebody fixed up, but not to this detail, and you go, wow, I wonder what this would have been like new, and so you go to a car dealer now. This car, looking at this, this smells new, looks new, like you can sit here and picture yourself in 1963, like going to a showroom and going, wow, this looks like a showroom car. Yep. Like, I mean, it looks new. This looks, and it is just as inviting as if I went right now to Ford and sat in a new car in their showroom.
And you could have bought this car any configuration. You could have bought the cheapest car with the biggest engine, which was a 409, 4-speed, whatever you wanted. You could go into the dealership if your salesman was educated and smart enough. Not smart enough, but educated enough as to the options. You could buy this car, a Biscayne, which was the bottom of the line. Anything you wanted, you could buy from General Motors.
You just had to know what boxes to check.
That's it.
Yeah, my mom had one of these, but it was a 4-door, and she had got it. She traded a typewriter for it.
I love it.
That was back when I was a little kid. I remember my mom coming home from work one day, and we all of a sudden had a blue 63 4-door. And it was probably, let's see, it would have to be about 70, 71, 72. And we're like, where'd you get the car? And she's like, well, the lady needed a typewriter. And we had like 2 or 3 Royal typewriters, and she traded a Royal typewriter for it. And it was like, but that was back in the day.
Now then, this car, they hit me. There was 3 points deducted from this car. One was that booster, the discoloration on it, and this is original glass. The back windshield, it's got some scratches on it, and they docked me on that.
Wow.
And then there's one other thing in the engine compartment that they got me on. But as I told them, I am not going to throw a perfectly good rear windshield away because it's got scratches on it, because you're going to deduct points.
That I can't even see. By the way, I can't see any of the stuff they're talking. They're there. I'm just saying. But when you look inside that, I mean, that interior, especially that dashboard, is just like, it looks like it got molded yesterday from the factory.
Well, I went through, from vendors, I went through 3 before I actually got one that was the workmanship was just shabby. I don't remember. Well, you can open it if you want.
I just wanted to kind of show from here, and then everything about this car is just. This is just. I mean, like I said, it really feels like it's a brand new car that's sitting here.
Basically, it is. I mean, the springs are color coded. The drive shaft's color coded. There's not much. Because I did a lot of homework on this car, and as I say, I'll never be another sock one.
And underneath is obviously, it's probably as clean. If it's as clean as the Ford, then everything in here is probably that way, right? I mean,
because they get under it too. Yes, they're allowed to get under the car.
Now, is this still a trailer queen at this time, or?
Yes, I would take it to Merchant's Landing. The problem is, one, I've got bi-ply tires.
Right.
2, this car's probably got 600 or 700, 6,700. I believe the odometer said 6,700 miles. I also gave a lot of money for the correct spiral shocks that went on these cars, and so consequently, I have no shocks. I'm on bi-ply tires, and it's like driving a tugboat.
Yeah. And down here, the one dangerous thing is we're in what's called tourist season. If you don't know what tourist season is, think of everybody's relatives think of your street on Christmas or Thanksgiving Day, every day for 6 months. And that none of them know what GPS is or where they're going. And they'll cut across 3 lanes of traffic to go to a gas station instead of going to the one that's half a block down.
It's also very amazing how many late model cars have no blinkers at work.
Yeah, I know. It's a new thing that's called turn signals. I guess they only use Florida. We have a big sign that says, when you come to Florida, when you come through the state, when you come down I-75 or 95, you'll see a giant sign, because I'm assuming they have one that says, do not use your turn signals in our state. Because I think that's what it's like when I went to New Orleans back when I was in college at FSU in '91. When you used to go to New Orleans, there was a big billboard that said, "Please do not murder people." It literally said that when we were going to Sugar Bowl. I'm pretty sure when you come to Florida, there's 2 big billboards that say, "Please do not waste your time using. We don't want you to burn out the lenses in your turn signals so that you have them at your home state. Please don't use them here." So. And I never realized that people from outside of the state learn that the left side of the road is now the slow lane and the right side is not. So anyway, so that's what's known as sarcasm, folks. Anyway, so then we have another black car.
Right.
And talk to me about this.
It's a 34 Ford Cabriolet. Has a rumble seat. Of course, it's a hot rod. It's got a small box Chevrolet, 700 R4. It's a lot of like the Greyhound, the lights. All of this is all Henry Ford.
So this Greyhound is actually from this.
It's a repop, okay. But it is.
But I mean, came on this car, so you would not that particular one, but
yes.
Now, is that what that Greyhound, or is that Greyhound bus lines?
Oh, that's off a Greyhound bus, 1948 Greyhound bus, yeah.
Okay.
It is.
So, because I didn't know if that went with this or went with a bus.
No, it went on a bus.
And is this also one of your show cars, or is this a fun car?
This is a driver.
Okay, so this is a fun car. Because I know, the only reason I ask is because I noticed the tires on it look like regular everyday radials.
And I didn't build the car.
Right.
I rebuilt the car outside. The paint, it was in pretty bad shape, and there's a lot of issues. And so I'm not a great chrome guy. And so you'll see a chromed out small block Chevrolet, but it's not my cup of tea. But as my friends say, leave it alone, stupid.
So it works, it runs, it looks
does
pretty.
Everything it's supposed to do. Very reliable car. Very reliable car. Yes.
So, don't you guys wish this was your driver?
Here's a very odd car.
So, all right, so this is cool.
This is something you're not going to see.
All right, so this.
I did not build this car. A gentleman by the name of Jim Evans, I'm sorry, built this car.
Okay. And where was he out of?
He's out of, he's up close to Chicago.
Okay.
It's got a very strange, it is a Ford and a Ford, believe it or not, no small block Chevrolet, but voila, a 312 Ford from 1957.
So this is like a period, like if somebody was making a movie, this would be a perfect period, like American Graffiti type car, because this is a period. Yes. Hot rod. This
car, just a quick brief history on the car. A lady bought it new, parked it after she quit driving. Her grandson got a hold of it in 1957 and put a 57 T-Bird engine in it. Evidently the family had some money.
Right.
He kept tearing the transmission out of it, so he parked it and it stayed in a barn chicken coop up until the gentleman that bought it and built it got a hold of it. And so this is a 1957 passenger car 2.4 engine. Now there's only one single 4 because they were called teapots.
Okay.
And they were very unreliable and they had a tendency to get gasoline. They bled gasoline. So he took a single 4, put it on a manifold, and then used actually is a 1957 passenger car 2.4 air cleaner top.
Is this one of them oil air cleaners?
No, it would have been then, but it
That's
is
what I'm
now.
saying. Now it's got the paper, but it's the shell is one of those oil-based air cleaners. Okay.
Yep. So
that's a very strange looking block, even in the front there.
Oh, it's those are Chevrolet headers, believe it or not.
Well, I was looking to see if they came out.
Yeah, they dropped down under
they dropped down under there. I was like, I see them there now. Is that an open header?
Well, it can be if you want.
Okay, so you have the the cutouts there.
And this is basically a stock reproduction interior. That's where now you could have ordered a vinyl interior also if you wanted in 36.
Really?
Yep.
They have vinyl interiors in 36?
You could have got a vinyl interior, correct. Yep.
Wow. Oh, that would have been so sticky about now, wouldn't it?
40 steering wheel, some other, it's a hot rod. It's got a little of this, a little of that.
Yeah, it's really nice. I like is that wood or is that just an inlay?
That's faux.
It's faux wood. Okay.
They came that way.
Okay. No back seat.
Hi, Rich.
Hey, Jay, you at the lunch?
We can do it after lunch.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I'll let you go.
Well, I've got a sack over my head. I do. Yeah, I guess so. I told him no close shots. Just the back of my head would be fine.
Did you go to a beauty parlor?
Well, I did shave. I put out. All right, I'll see you in a little while. Yep, bye.
I'm doing the video that you're gonna be talking over real quick.
Well, you're gonna take all my parts out, okay?
Yeah. No, the only thing I won't show the face. I may show the back of the head, but we'll make sure that you feel comfortable. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just being. You'd be surprised though. You would be surprised, like I tell people, nobody really gives a shit they don't look at you anyway. It's all a bunch of old guys looking at your cars. Like,
I don't care. I'm doing it anyway. Do what you need.
So, and this is a 62.
62 Bel Air bubble top. They didn't make too many of these. I think 8,700 maybe in 1962.
So what makes it a bubble top?
Well,
Like if we look at that one,
62, they changed to this roof line. Okay?
the one that kind of looks like it has, and it has the wrinkles in the front, kind of. It almost try to look like a convertible.
And it's a little bit more formal if you want to go that route with
Okay.
it. So they started that roof line in 62. The story I've been told is they had a bunch of tops left over from the 61 model year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it was this top. In fact, a lot of this trim on this car is off of the 61. But they built these. They were called a poor man's hardtop.
Okay.
I was told, and a lot of the racers liked them because they were a little lighter and they were a lot cheaper to buy.
Oh,
So a lot of these, not a lot. There's quite a few of the racers. Dick Harrell being one of them, and some other guys. Had these built 409s in them, and that's what they raced. But this, again, has got a lot of trick stuff done to it.
Oh, wow.
It would take a while to tell you everything that has been done to it. But again, it's the bumpers have been pulled in, flushed with the body panels, and da-da-da-da.
It's got almost the same exhaust kind of things as you sort of did with the.
Yeah, that's one of my things. And then in the running lights that are front, these are 60.
And look at the meats on the back of that. Now, was this wheel well made bigger for those meats?
No, actually, believe it or not, it is a stock wheel tub in there. We had the gas tank sit right here. The flap to
so that's
open
why
up.
it got moved.
So it got moved and cleaned up, and there was a valley that went down through there that was this shape, and we had to cut that out so the wheel would actually fit in there. But no, it's a very, very, very tight fit. If you have a flat, of course, you have to drop the whole suspension to get to it.
And what is it? A foot? Oh, okay. I thought it said foos for a second on the wheel there, but and then you've got are these LED lights?
Yes.
Okay.
Another Camaro.
Oh, it's
running
like
lights
69,
out
68 Camaro.
69.
69 Camaro.
here. The hood was actually body work. If you remember, this would be all sharp edges.
Oh,
and
yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
That's all body work. That's not fiberglass.
Oh,
That's
wow.
actually body work.
Wow.
The young man the Cuban fellow, young man that I told you about that did the running lights on the Ford.
Yeah,
did a lot of
yeah,
work
yeah,
on the
yeah,
Ford.
yeah.
He built these with, get this, an oxygen bottle and a cutting torch. And he just cut these out
So
with a cutting torch, pushed it in, and then body worked all of this. And
So this is metal.
yes, oh yes, it's all
Oh wow, yeah, you could. That's tin or not tin. I don't know if it's tin, but
It's metal.
yeah, this is all actual metal, guys. So this is not like fiberglass
No,
forming.
no,
This is
no.
old world, old school
Yep.
skill.
Yes, sir. It surely is.
And is that Weber? What kind? They're not Weber
Ingles.
carbs. Okay.
Ingles.
Okay. Oh, I see them right there, Ingles. So, and that's fuel injected, then obviously.
Yes, electronically run, not a fast, but a Holly system.
So when did this car get built?
This car was built.
I mean,
Well, I'll
are
tell
we
you
talking a
what
couple of years ago? or-
I'll tell you, no, it was built in 14.
Okay, so 2014.
It was we built it. Yeah, it was finished in 14.
And the chassis here is similar to.
Art Morrison chassis, 4-wheel
Okay.
disc, 4-link, coilovers all the way around. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, when you do them, I mean, they're done. You almost have your own style. I think somebody could look at your cars and you can see a lot of the same, not style, but I mean, just build things or similar
my
builds.
philosophy is keep it simple, stupid,
Yeah.
and a lot of little details. A lot of details on it.
And I love the way that the metal and like everything is clean, so it shows off the engine.
Yes.
Like you're not distracted by any of the other stuff.
And there's not a bunch of chrome there. There's just enough to add a little detail.
Now, how much horsepower? I mean, look, what are those 3-inch headers?
I know what, John. Those
They are
custom-made
huge.
headers, yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a big engine to start with.
if you really think about it, you see this hole.
Oh, that's going
and this
in,
hole,
that's
and it's
going
going
out.
out. It's an air pump. It's basically what it is. So the more air and fuel you get through it, the more power you make. And a 572, and who the hell knows what kind of horsepower it's.
Wow. But it's enough to get the car wherever you want it to go.
This tell you a lot. These are fuel line in and out.
Oh, that's the fuel line.
Yes.
Wow. You know what? You look at it and it's almost as big as the water line.
Yep.
So yeah, so you get what, about 3 miles a gallon on this thing, or you don't even pay?
Kind of the old adage: if you've got to ask how many miles a gallon you get, you don't need to buy it.
It's a Texas car. We make oil.
Yeah, right. Yes, and I am in that business.
So
Yes, sir, I am in that business.
wow, and I love the red interior. I mean, it's like that's such a classic thing with the black and the red.
Right, in 1962, let me back up in my years. In 1957, if a kid come to town with a new 57 Chevrolet with a red interior, he's a hot dog, buddy. He's got something going, and you better watch out if you're a drag racer. Of course, we all used to go out in the country, and a $5 bet was big time back in those days.
Right. Wow. I mean, all these are like perfect and gorgeous. And like I said, the cool thing is when you see somebody like you that has this, and then you see one out on the road, I mean, that's what they're there for. They are not, I mean, whether you say they're trailer queens, some are, but I mean, you also drive stuff. You're not just a collector where it's going to sit in a shed, no one's going to see it, and it's just like there to be a lawn ornament. So we've got some gas pumps here. You've got some other testers and stuff. Now, did you own a garage or anything at any given time, or this is stuff that you like to?
Yes, this actually came from my hometown in Northwest Texas.
Okay. And then this is a 4-speed? Like this has a whole transmission and everything. So
yeah, it's a 59 AB, and it's a display engine. It actually would run, but it's a display engine.
Okay.
And it's got the two.
Did you just put this together? You're just for fun, or did you just buy it?
One of these things. No, a friend of mine actually gave me everything except the intake and the carburetors. It was set, he built a stand for it. It was in his way, and he said, "If you want it, you can have it." And I said, "Well, when I'll get through with it, I'll bring it back." No, I'm done with it. So he gave me the whole thing, and I just put a little speed equipment on it, and now it's a display engine because a lot of people walk in and wonder, what is that? Who the hell don't know what a flathead is?
So awesome. And then there's cows.
Well, I raise horses and cattle.
And cows. Okay.
Yes. 1950. When he passed away and they put him in the hospital, they took his wallet away from him. They took his coin purse, and inside that coin purse is a silver dollar, Mercury head dime, and a wheat penny. And that's his last chew of tobacco, and it's actually in there, and that's the pouch that he carried it in.
So you just, I mean, this isn't just a car garage. This is your...
That's me when I was a kid, wore overalls.
Just all kinds of stuff.
This is a blow-up of a picture that I have on the back of here. And this is Oklahoma, around 8 Oklahoma before it became a state. Now, this is my grandfather on my mother's side. That's an old photo. I forget, Oklahoma was estrayed maybe 1899, something like that.
So you got some deep roots in this country.
There's some more stuff over there. Yeah.
And then what is...
Nakota Boot?
Nakota Boot.
Nakota Boot at one time was the largest boot manufacturer, cowboy boots in Texas, and I would imagine probably United States. A lady, her name, I'm trying to remember her name, but anyway, her husband started Nakota Boots in Nakona, Texas, and Nakona is an Indian name for a chief that lived there. And she ran the company up until she was 94 years old, and that would have been around 1988, 89. And she sold a Nakota Boot to Justin Boot, which is a big conglomerate, is still in business and to this day, and probably one of the largest boot manufacturers. Well, anyway, there's two of these signs, and I happened to wind up with one of them.
Nice.
And so again, you know.
Yeah, just cool stuff everywhere.
The Lion and Tiger over here came off of a 1903 merry-go-round.
Okay.
And again, it's kind of odd sitting in here, but it just attracted me, and it was reasonable enough. The headlights are off of, I believe, a gentleman that I bought them from said they were off of a 27 Cadillac. And there's just stuff. What can I tell you?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's just cool stuff. So, yeah, it's just a whole cool place. So, anyway, Well, like I said, this is just so neat, and you got all kinds of cool stuff up here, including the disco ball from the 70s.
Well, there's a story behind it. You may or may not want to hear.
This is a family program, so that'll be told off camera. So, but yeah, there you go. Oh man. You know, like
Let's face it, we all go around to car shows and steal ideas, and
yeah,
I mean that's what it's all about.
that's the best form of flattery, is taking somebody. Nobody. It's kind of like the people who write music say, or me. I wrote a couple books. I've written books in my life, and I used to tell people every word's been written.
Oh, yeah.
There's only 26 letters, so there's only a finite way they can be put together. You put them the way together you like, and if other people like it, they'll read the book. And cars are the same way. I mean, there's only so many ways you can do a car. So you steal the best little ideas you like from someone else and put it together.
The 69 Camaro running lights, if you'll notice, they're angled just like the bumper is. I was driving down this road one day. A friend of mine in a beater 62 had chopped his up and just stuck it in there, and it didn't fit. And I looked in my rearview mirror and I saw that, and I thought, you know, I've seen a lot of cars that do that solid and chrome it all the way around. They've done this and that, but I've never seen a 69 Camaro set of running lights put in that bumper.
So
I
they
actually sold the idea from a friend of mine on a beater 62.
There you go. Yeah. It's just an awesome thing. And like I said, and then coming to a man cave where you have the high ceilings, and you know, you may live somewhere where there is buildings that, you know, especially sadly in the recent years, where there's a lot of big buildings that are empty, and you may not want to run a business, but you get 3 or 4 of your guys, you know, you guys may have cars sitting outside your house. You maybe you live in an apartment and you have other friends live in an apartment. Even if you're young guys, you could be in your 20s, and you go, you know what, you can rent a space and make it your thing. I can tell you right now, when I was a kid, there's a ton of bands. Anybody who's a drummer or a guitar player, the first thing those guys that have garage bands do is go rent a garage somewhere for their band stuff. And if somebody who plays music, and we all know somebody who plays music who never has money for anything is always, so if poor musicians can rent a place, then you guys can get a place like this. It becomes a hangout, and it's just a really nice thing. And the other thing is, fact is, one of the things that we see a lot nowadays are these lifts. And back in the day, to get a lift would have been, you could not. It was cost prohibitive. But now you can buy lifts like these, or even the ones, maybe the ramps that you drive up on. And there are a couple, the ones that you could drive up on and they'll lift the car maybe, you know, 4 or 5 feet. You're talking under $5,000 for some of this stuff.
This lift cost me a sitting. They assembled it here. I think I got $2,800, and I bought it, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're talking under $5,000. You and your buddies each put $1,000 together. You rent a little garage. You now have a lift. You can work on your cars and do all the stuff that, you know, we used to just pull them under a tree and put one of them ratchet things and just.
Been there, done that.
But anyway, I just like everything here. This is something that we all would love to have. These are beautiful man caves, and everybody I've known so far that's had one has been like, it's fun to keep private because we don't want people who around, because you do have a big investment in vehicles, but we also do it because we want to share with somebody. It's like, you know. And why do this if you're the only person that sees it? So this is a way of seeing it. It's a way of sharing without worrying about whether somebody's going to come and break in and rob you.
Keeps a bunch of those old coots off the street.
Yeah, it keeps them all off so they're not driving around with their left turn signal on in the right-hand lane for the rest of the day. So,
you got it.
But anyway, hey, Jay, thank you so much for bringing us in. Bring us in, sharing. I mean, honestly, guys, every one of these cars looks showroom new if you had the craziest, awesome Don Yanko type dealership back in the day. And so thanks. I hope you guys like it. If you like this place, hopefully he'll watch the video, or if not, he'll at least read the comments. And so put some comments down if you like stuff like this, because This is what we do. This is what we
I
find.
did not know that old man in the video.
Yeah, that's not what we did before. Is we went. He didn't want to be seen, so what we did is we went to the Halloween store and we got those plastic masks to put on so that he doesn't. He's in the witness protection, so he can't see what he really looks like. So he's really only about 27 years old. But we put this on for him. So anyway. If you come down and you're ever at Merchants Crossing or anything down here in South Florida, you may end up seeing him and saying hi. Come over. He loves his cars, and that's why he does it, to look at them. So, but thank you guys, and we will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a happy new year. This is probably our last video of the year, and so thank you all for everything you've done, and I will see you in 2022. April. Should they subscribe to this channel even if they don't like cars today for this one?
Probably just for this one.